Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Newsgram. I am so glad you clicked on this episode because vicissitude, it's not a word we use all the time, but it's a great one to describe the things that happen to us that are beyond our control. They happen all the time, and we all react differently. Many times we wish we could go back and do things differently, but that's just never an option. The vicissitudes of life are numerous. They can totally overshadow all the good things that happen to us. But it's that combination that life is all about. How we cope with the ups and downs, it says a lot about who we are as individuals. And today, we're going to meet Harry Krauss. Among other things, he's a retired author. He's also a pretty cool guy, as you'll see in a minute. He has a new book of poetry out that offers a message of hope and inspiration. The poems are mostly about how he coped with cancer, or I should say, the emotional duress caused by the cancer. Oh, and there's a lot more here. Stick with me because this is going to be worth it. Henry was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, diabetes, and polycystic kidney disease, a chronic condition that literally destroys your kidneys. There's no cure for it, so Henry had to undergo a kidney transplant. And rather than letting all of that get the best of him, he decided to write 30 poems.
It was kind of cathartic to write these 30 poems.
His poems are now a book, and it's titled From Dusk to Dawn, The Vicissitudes of Life. Henry says people react differently to tragedy, but journaling or writing can be therapeutic because the diagnosis of a chronic condition can take an emotional toll.
An important thing out there for people who are sick to know is to get counseling or therapy from a social worker, psychologist, or psychiatrist, because that kind of help emotionally helps you deal with the stress. And to be honest with you, that's the hardest part.
Gratitude and staying positive can actually improve your health. Can it cure cancer? Well, I'm not going to go so far as to say that, but being gracious and positive are a lot better for you than negativity. We've met all kinds of people here on Newsgram, and a common theme is the importance of being thankful and optimistic.
My idea is to instill hope in people that just because you're given a cancer diagnosis or chronic kidney disease, it doesn't mean your life is over.
That's a really good way to put it. No matter what is going on in our life, things happen for a reason. There's always a path through the darkness, and there is always hope.
This is true in all of life, because that's what the book is about. It's not only severe tragedies, it's anything that comes up. You have a choice. I don't like to say it, this cliche, but is the glass half empty or half full?
A really nice example of this is a poem he wrote called My Cancer. Now, it's not available online in the free preview section of his book, so it was very nice of him to read this one for us. It's such a visual piece. I think you're going to like it. Let's have a listen.
Where did my energy go? I climbed mountains, ran with the wind, climbed the great oak. Now it's hard to walk, climb steps. I need stamina, vitality. I sit and can't get up, dizzy. What will rejuvenate me? My heart pumps, although it feels like the blood is slowly dripping out of me. Despite the fatigue, I push with grit. I'm optimistic. Tomorrow is another day.
Tomorrow is another day. When you thumb through this book, you get a real sense of who Henry Krauss is, and he's definitely someone you should know. We encounter people every day, and we rarely get a chance to get to know them or hear their stories. Letting Henry touch your life with his words is a good thing. If you're going through something in life and it's bringing you down, listen to Henry. You might not be able to see it right away, but one of the important keys to life is acceptance.
Acceptance of your situation in life. Now, you look at people and you say, well, look, that guy has a lot of money, great car, great kids, everyone has something to deal with in this life. This world makes us choose and is not a utopia. We sometimes think like children and want everything to be a birthday party Life is not like that. The people who think that way get into trouble. Now, I have a brother who's perfectly healthy, and a sister, too, who's perfectly healthy. So it was just, this is how things fell out.
The book is called From Dusk to Dawn, The Vicissitudes of Life. And before we wrap up today, I wanted you to meet Henry's Uncle Al.
He had a big impression on me because he was going to go to Cooper Union, an engineering school, but he was drafted. And unfortunately, they put him on the front line. You know, he wasn't a fighter, although he did the best he could, he told me. I would visit him every Sunday in the nursing home with the coffee, cake. I thought that if I go to heaven, hopefully I will, that God would look at those days, and that was like the best thing I ever did in my life.
Now, I don't get to decide these things, but in my opinion, if Henry doesn't make it to heaven, it just doesn't exist. Here he is reading his poem, Uncle Al. Now, it's a bit graphic, but if Uncle Al can stay positive through all this, then there is hope for all of us.
When we were little, we visited our Uncle Al in the Bronx. The trip was endless for us kids. The apartment, built in 1901, was stuffy. It shook when the L passed by. Electricity replaced gas lights, high ceilings and windows, furniture from the late 19th century, gloomy paint chipping, sun silhouetted through the dull gray curtains, elaborate moldings, electric fans, fresh, thick corned beef sandwiches. Uncle Al rarely went out of his room. When he did, he climbed through the window in his bedroom. He was a lineman operating radios behind Nazi lines. He was shell-shocked, hospitalized in the Plymouth psychiatric clinic. His friend was decapitated by a grenade. Brains, blood, and bones fell on him. The rest of the neck was spurting blood. The encrusted body of his other friend was incinerated. A round clump of blackened trunk was the only thing left. He was neither bitter nor angry. He blamed no one but himself. He was taciturn, kind-hearted, and gentle. We'd go fishing together. He showed me his photography lab, discussed his stamp collection, his precious book compendium. We became one. I looked up to him. I adore him still and miss him.
This life is anything but dull. We rise and fall with the waves like a boat on the ocean, which is why that is the image on the cover of his book, From Dusk to Dawn, The Vicissitudes of Life. It is available online right now at Ex Libris, Barnes & Noble, and all your favorite places. And that will do it for this edition of Newsgram from webtalkradio.com.